Y'all, I just finished reading The God and the Gumiho. I need a minute.
5 minutes later.
Okay, let's do this. This is an incredible book. This is an exceptional book. This is so good. This book is so good. When I say this book is exceptional, when I say I need a minute, at the end of the book, I was flipping back multiple pages to reread over and over so that I could get everything, so that I could experience every word on the page. At the end, I was reading and rereading and reading again the same paragraph, the same sentence, the same pages. I was just drinking in everything about this book. It took me probably 10 minutes to read the last 2 pages because I wanted to read and absorb every word of it, every moment of it. This is an absolutely gorgeous book. So if you want to stop the review right there, go pre-order it right now. If you pre-order, which means today is the last day, apparently you can get an exclusive character art print, so I'm going to go do that. Okay, I'm back. That was actually easier than I expected. So, let's get into the spoiler-free half of the review. I'm going to start this out by saying why, despite all of the good stuff I'm going to talk about, The God and the Gumiho is not 5 stars for me. The God and the Gumiho, I give it 4.5 stars. It is an exceptional book. I highly recommend it if it's anywhere near your genres of choice. It's not 5 stars. The reason it's not 5 stars is pretty simple. I tend not to fully buy in on enemies to lovers. The reason for that is that I am gray asexual, gray aromantic. And it is my experience, and mind you, I am new to the romance and romantasy genres, so my experience here is limited. But it is my experience that for enemies to lovers, they usually start that transition from enemies to lovers with physical attraction. And that just doesn't do it for me. I was not on board with the start of the transition from enemies to lovers for this book. At a certain point, I stopped caring whether I was on board with the beginning, because as it continued, as it progressed, it was executed so well, and everything else in the book was executed so freaking well. It is a fantastic book. It is exceptional. It's not 5 stars because that start of the transition, the start of the progression from enemies to lovers, it was weird to me. I don't buy it. Again, I think this is because I'm on the asexual aromantic spectrum. There's a lot of things about romance that are weird to me because I don't experience them. Editing Ray realizing that I didn't really do transitions because I recorded this over so many pieces, so now that I'm done explaining why this isn't 5 stars, let's talk about why it would have been. The God and the Gumiho. A few days ago I did a short, said if you like, I forget what all I said, but I'm going to add to it, so whatever, that's fine. If you like a whole bunch of things, you should totally read this book. I'm about to add some things that should make you read this book. You should read this book if you like urban fantasy. You should read this book if you like paranormal mysteries. You should read this book if you like your urban fantasy to paranormal romance about a 60-40 split in favor of the urban fantasy. You should read this book if you like folklore. You should read this book if you like Korean folklore. You should read this book if you like trickster foxes. You should read this book if you like learning about folklore and mythology. You should read this book if you like seeing gods acting both human and non-human, as in the uncanny valley of their personality, because they're gods, not humans. You should read this book if you like a really good love story. And you should read this book if you like coffee. I could come up with more, but I wanted to stop at 10 because I'm out of fingers. The short version of it is, if your interests are anywhere near the urban fantasy genre or folklore or any of it, you should read this book. Huge thank you to NetGalley and to the publisher, because I got to read this in advance via an e-arc, which I am super, super happy and excited about. I absolutely love this book. When I saw it on NetGalley, I was like, this sounds incredible, and I so badly want to read it. Please, 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 please. And then I got approved, and I was just over the moon, because this book, guys, this book, first of all, I do love folklore, and I love learning about folklore, and I love tricksters, and I love gods who fit that uncanny valley. I love everything that I've said. You should read this book if you like it. I adore it. This book is so, it's like it's tailor-made for me, except for the thing about enemies to lovers, which is the only reason that this book is not a 5-star for me. Right, I'm going to try to keep the first half or so of this spoiler free, and then we'll get into just discussing all of the plot and everything about it. But let's talk spoiler free first. A disclaimer, Korean phonetics are not my strong suit. I am doing my best. I did look it up, or at least I had my boyfriend look it up, and he played the audio for me, and I am doing my best to replicate it. Any mispronunciations, I'm bad with Korean phonetics, and I'm sorry. So the god in the title of the book is Sokga the Fallen. He is the trickster god of Korean mythology who has been banished to Isong, Earth, the living world, for the last 268 years because he kind of attempted a coup. His big brother was not impressed. Long story short, he is basically doing community service to get out of jail. And by community service, I mean killing Korean folklore monsters that go around killing people. They call them unrulies, capital U, and those are his targets. And he has to kill 20,000 of them before he'll be allowed back into Okwang. The realms I did not look up. Honestly, kind of was just going to stick with like living realm, godly realm, and I'm trying to use the proper names. That might have been a mistake. If you do know Korean phonetics and I'm butchering it, please tell me how to actually pronounce it in the comments. And again, I'm sorry. So maybe community service isn't the best analogy because he is still in jail. He's banished from Okwang, the realm of the gods. It's more like restitution, I suppose. So he's going through paying restitution in the form of killing 20,000 unrulies. He works as a detective in basically the magical detective unit of the police force that definitely doesn't exist if you ask anyone outside of it. Not there. No such thing. Detective who? The Gumiho in the title is Kim Honey. A Gumiho, I learned this from Wicked Fox, right there, which is another book that revolves around this particular entity. A Gumiho is a Korean nine-tailed fox. Much like kitsune, they're tricksters. Kim Honey is also known as the Scarlet Fox, but nobody knows that Kim Honey is the Scarlet Fox because the Scarlet Fox hasn't been seen in 104 years since she went on an eating binge of livers and souls in 1888. Yes, if you're doing the math, this book takes place in 1992. There's a reason for that we'll get to in the spoiler section. So Kim Honey currently works at a place called the Creature Cafe. As you might suggest from the genre and from the name of the place, this is a cafe that is both staffed and patronized primarily by non-human entities, including Sokka, whose one true joy on earth is coffee. 1 cream, 1 sugar. Hani delights in messing up his order, just to mess with him, because she hates how smug he is. And he hates her for it. And this would have gone right merrily along if 2 things didn't happen back to back. 1, some idiot human males decided to try to assault Kim Hani, and she killed them for it. The second thing that happens is a series of murders starts. People have nightmares, go to sleep, and don't wake up. These 2 things are not related until they are. Spoiler section. But you could guess they're going to end up tied together. The reason that the killing the men matters is Hani takes the livers of the men, and that matters because Gumiho eat livers. Gumiho will kill a man and take out his liver. And these ones were killed with a dagger, which matches the MO of the Scarlet Fox who hasn't been seen in 104 years. Because it was the Scarlet Fox who hasn't been seen in 104 years. The murders matter because they're murders. And also because the thing that's causing the murders, which I'm just going to refer to as a darkness demon because I couldn't find a sound file to tell me how to pronounce the name, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher it, is strong enough to permanently kill a god. So that's bad. Hwanin, Sokka's older brother, offers Sokka a bargain. If he kills the Scarlet Fox and he kills the Darkness Demon, those 2 unrulies will count for the rest of his quota. And who should overhear this deal being offered but Kim Hani, who immediately decides that the absolute best place in the world for her to be is right under Sokka's nose. So she becomes his assistant at the police station, proceeding to still mess up his coffee orders every time, in an effort to throw him off the scent. This is about as far as the back of book cover goes, which means it's also about as far as I'm going to go in the plot until we get to actual spoilers where all bets are off. So, not giving details past that. What I'm going to say, everything that I just said matters. All of it. Except maybe 1 cream, 1 sugar. You could technically doctor up the coffee however you wanted. You could make the coffee order whatever you wanted, and it'd probably be fine. Everything else that I just said matters, whether it sounds like it does or not. Sokka loves coffee. Hani hates coffee. This is important. Hani works at the Creature Cafe. Sokka is a patron at the Creature Cafe. This is important. Everything that I just said is important and matters and plays into the resolution of the story. Sophie Kim is adept at weaving together storylines, subplots, themes, motifs, plot points into a cohesive, really gripping story. She is incredible at grabbing something that was mentioned briefly so far back and bringing it forward and making it important in a way that you didn't see coming because you just mentioned it. It was just that brief little thing. What do you mean it's actually like key to how the rest of the story is going to play out? There is nothing wasted in this book. That's impressive. There's nothing wasted. Everything in the book matters. And everything is done so freaking well. I really want to read more by Sophie Kim. I cannot wait until book 2 is announced. I'm pre-ordering it before it even has a title if necessary. The second that thing is available for pre-order on Amazon, it's going on my list. I'm going to get it. Because this book is just so fantastic. I really can't say enough good things about this. This is everything I wanted out of the book and so much more. Hello, it is I, Editing Ray, popping in once again because transitions, what are those? Never heard of them. And because now it's time for spoilers. So, this probably isn't going to be half and half because it's been a long day and the day's almost over and I really want to get this up. So this is probably going to be more like 75-25, sticking only to what's on the back cover. We're going all in. But we're going to talk some spoilers here because this is a really good mystery and a really good love story. And oh boy, I almost want to say don't even watch this part, just skip to, I'll probably put another transition, or just like skip the rest of the video. I kind of want to say that because the mystery is so good, but I'm not going to say that because I want to talk about it. Specifically, I want to talk about the ending. By the time I got 85% into the book, I was getting really anxious. What I thought would happen is I thought Sokka would find out who Hani was at about the 3/4 mark. That's where the all hope is lost moment happens. That's where we cut and we go straight for the climax. It's about at that 3/4 mark. So 85%, and he still doesn't know. I look at my boyfriend and I'm like, I'm kind of really anxious about this. I'm kind of getting really nervous. I'm really hoping this book doesn't end how I am getting scared it's going to end. And so I told him the most abbreviated version that I personally can manage, which is not very abbreviated, of the synopsis that I gave you before. By this point, Sokka and Hani are very much in love, very much physically intimate, and it's this sword of Damocles hanging over them that Hani has not told Sokka, that he has not found out who she is, that she is the Scarlet Fox that he's been hunting. So I'm at 85%, and I'm like, I'm really scared that this is going to end without it being resolved, that the end of this book is going to be him finding out, and then I'm going to have to wait till the next book. I'm very happy to say that's not what happened. This is listed as the first in at least a duology. I don't know how many books are planned, but the series is called Fate's Thread. The reason it's called Fate's Thread is if you've read any manga, you've probably seen the story of a little red string that ties lovers, destined lovers, together. Sokka meets his obligation. He does kill the Scarlet Fox and the Darkness Demon. Hani is already dying. She prays to Huanin. She gets him to amend the bargain. And she takes her own dagger and Sokka's hand and stabs herself in the heart with his hand. And therefore he killed her. Knowing full well that she was a Scarlet Fox because she is using his hand to stab herself in the heart with the scarlet dagger that is the signature weapon of the Scarlet Fox. And that makes him half a god. He gets back half his powers. And he tortures the Darkness Demon to death, and nothing of value was lost. It's like actually that reaction, Jeff. And nothing of value was lost. He tortures the Darkness Demon to death with his half of his god's powers. And then, having slain both of them, he is restored to godhood because that was the bargain. And I was wondering, is book 2 going to be around a different couple? What's going to happen? Sokka has had so much growth because of his relationship with Hani. He is able to go to his brother and show humility, show that he cares about someone other than himself. And the book ends 26 years later in 2018 when Kim Hani, despite all of her crimes, everything she did as a Scarlet Fox, is granted reincarnation, and Sokka, while wandering New Cincy, finds that red string of fate and starts following it to her. And this is the part where I was reading every word over and over. And yes, I am tearing up right now. This was such a good ending. I didn't know how. I had no idea how Sophie Kim was going to end this book and not have it be just heart-wrenchingly awful. And she pulled it off, stuck the landing. And I can't wait for the next one, because now Kim Hani isn't going to be the Scarlet Fox, but they are still destined to be together because she is the reincarnation of the one woman he ever loved. The one person who he loved enough to plead for her to reincarnate instead of going to hell forever. Hello, Editing Ray back one more time. We are done with these spoilers. It's safe to look. This is a really good book. Yeah, this is a really, really good book. So that's my review of The God and the Gumiho by Sophie Kim. 4.5 stars, maybe 4.75. I've never used that particular rating, but it feels appropriate. Just barely shy of 5 stars, only due to me having some quibbles with the start of the romance. It's honestly just an incredible book, and I highly recommend it. And I really don't have much else to say.